I love all of Tolkien's work, and myself and many other people were very excited to hear about the new TV show being made around his creations, but we've also been very skeptical because nothing is sacred, and writers and directors don't care about staying as accurate to source material as possible. They only care about doing what they want, and they finally released some images of characters and information about the Ring of Power, but in the very same interview, they're already attacking critics of the show, calling anyone who is hesitant to support it trolls. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start off with this Bounding into Comics article. It says Amazon Prime Video uses Vanity Fair to attack critics of The Lord of the Rings of Power as trolls. Honestly, I was expecting this to happen. I want this show to be good. I want to give it a chance. I want to watch it, but unfortunately, there are people behind the scenes that attack fans and call them trolls if they don't instantly agree with the direction they're taking the series in. There are a lot of people behind the series that are making a lot of different changes to Tolkien's work, and fans don't like that. So, of course, they cannot take the criticism, and they're instantly attacking us. It says Amazon's Prime Video appears to be using Vanity Fair to attack the Lord of the Rings fans who have criticized the show for not staying faithful to Tolkien's original work. As expected in this modern era of woke Hollywood, Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings of Power executive producer Lindsay Weber explained in a puff piece for Vanity Fair the show altered and race-swapped multiple characters in order to reflect what the world actually looks like. If you want to make a series about what the world actually looks like, that's fine, but go and write something new. Don't take someone else's work and twist it around. Now, with this interview, they did release some character images and story details, and of course, people are not impressed. Tolkien never wrote dark-skinned elves or dwarves. They completely changed around the lore about dwarven women because they're supposed to look almost the same as the male dwarves, and they made her look very feminine, the dwarven princess we're finally seeing. It's like they went into this series and said, let's do the opposite of everything Tolkien wrote, and people are not happy with it. Look at this Screen Rant article. The Rings of Power's new non-Tolkien elf and dwarf characters revealed. So if it's not Tolkien, why is it in a Tolkien show? It doesn't make sense. But going back to the Bounding into Comics article, it says Weber explained these casting changes, stating, "It only felt natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like." One would think that when adapting a piece of fiction that has a storied history, one might think it would be natural to reflect what Tolkien actually wrote rather than what the world actually looks like. It begs the question as why Amazon would even want to adapt Tolkien if they didn't want to actually reflect what he wrote, and we know why, because they want to take things, they want to twist them around, and they want to change them. Look at Wheel of Time. That is another major series that Amazon dug their claws into, and they completely changed the source material of. People were not impressed with that. They ended up attacking fans, saying, oh, you're all just a bunch of haters. They're doing the same exact thing now with the Rings of Power. Hollywood doesn't follow source material for series all the time, but we're talking about Tolkien's work here. His work is the basis for so much of what's in Hollywood and video games today. So many of the stories that are written and told now are derivatives of his creation, so it's important they get it right and not manipulate it. It says, interestingly, the puff piece by Vanity Fair then paints people who wanted Prime Video to stay true to Tolkien's work as trolls. I think that this is absolutely disgusting. I am a huge fan of Tolkien's work. I have all of it behind me. I absolutely love it, and I want them to stay as close to the source material as possible. He had a vision, and if you're adapting it, you should want to stay as close to that as you can, but no, they don't want that. It's like they're doing whatever they want, and they don't care if we like it. It says, though, Vanity Fair's writers said when Amazon released photos of its multicultural cast, even without character names or plot details, the studio endured a reflective attack from trolls, the anonymous online kind. They go on and try and deride the fans by citing a so-called Tolkien scholar. They are not a Tolkien scholar, though, but is rather a PhD student at the University of Glasgow who is interested in ethics, feminist theory, and encountering the other in Tolkien's works. That sounds like a social justice warrior if there ever was one. Of course, they're trying to say, oh, we are referencing this Tolkien scholar, someone who cares about their work, loves their work, knows all their work, yet they're really just interested in ethics and feminist theory. Nevertheless, Vanity Fair and one suspect's Amazon by association prop up this feminist as a Tolkien scholar to attack their fans. They tell Vanity Fair, obviously there was going to be push and backlash, but the question is from who? Who are these people that feel so threatened or disgusted by the idea that an elf is black or Latino or Asian? I am not disgusted or threatened with the fact that they're making an elf black or a hobbit black. I am just disappointed that they're not following the source material. That's the best way to say it. I'm not some raging Easterphobe. I'm not some terrible person. I'm just someone who cares about this universe, who cares about these stories, who wants them to be as accurate as possible. Not only does Vanity Fair and by association Amazon Studios attack the Lord of the Rings fans, but they also reveal that the casting changes were cause for fans to be concerned that if you can't get it right, you won't get the rest right either. And that appears to be the case as Vanity Fair reports the showrunners have compressed events into a single point in time. That's right, they've completely done away with Tolkien's timeline. I am so disappointed with this series. I want it to be good. I wanted to give it a chance. I was really hoping they'd knock our socks off, basically. They would surprise us with how accurate it is, how good it is. And some of the images that they had released with this interview weren't terrible, I'm going to be honest, but a lot of them you could clearly see they weren't following the lore that was previously written, they weren't following the source material, and they were doing whatever they wanted. And I also wanted to show off some of the tweets about this series because a lot of people are very unimpressed right now with Amazon, with these executive producers, with these writers. Somebody said Amazon's Lord of the Rings series looks about as bad as I expected. Remember, folks, this is the most expensive TV series ever made, and it looks like cosplay shit. I think that some of the images look okay, like this image. I think that this looks really cool, and I'm sure some of the cinematography in the series is going to be good. I'm sure some of the shots are going to be really cool, but you can tell a lot of the problems. Like this is supposed to be the dwarven princess. She does not look like a dwarf at all, and as we know from Tolkien's work, dwarf females are supposed to look basically the same as dwarf men. Scrolling down, people are saying things like, no, just stop. Stop inserting your earthly problems into a story like this. This story is already rich in diversity and strong characters and loved by all people. Let fantasy remain fantasy. I 100% agree. I'm going to post a bit of an explanation why this particular image is where fans of Lord of the Rings written material understood the Amazon show will be shit. Let's take perhaps the greatest fiction writer of the 20th century and add new characters to it. No thanks. I think we all know deep in our hearts that this series is going to have problems. I mean, it's Amazon creating it, and we saw what they did with Wheel of Time. They didn't care about sticking to source material, only that they could twist it to fit what they think are modern standards in entertainment. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.